Hey traders, how you doing? This is Mitch from Beginner Trading. Just gonna go over a strategy brand new to you guys, the reversal. Been using it this week. It's been really hot with a high volatile environment. So let's go ahead and check out what reversals are and how we can go ahead and trade them. Like always, reversals really use trading off the levels using the psychology of greed to win. So the strength to the strategy, guys. Really, the reversals use extreme on the hourly and 15-minute time frame to determine extension. Start off with a very minimal risk. Your risk should be actually a fourth of your full size position. This is going to give you an ability to get into many of these trades with that minimal risk. What are we using here? We're using two lagging indicators, the MACD, which is the moving convergence line, and the Scholastic RSI, which is overbought at 80 and oversold at 25. The key here is they're lagging indicators, so you can't really use them to get your entry, but determine when you should get out of the trade. This trade really looks to take advantage of the greedy traders that are pushing too far in one direction. Like always, traders, there's always these momentum pushes that push stocks way too far in one direction. This is because of the agos and also retail traders just buying up the momentum in that one direction. What we try to do is look for those greedy traders that are keep pushing and pushing the stock in one direction. We look for the reversal of that momentum and the trend to come back on them. And the really cool part of this strategy is that you get to really add when it's working. When it's working, you want to go ahead and keep adding to your position, eventually holding break even once you get to that full size position. And of course, one of the great things I like is that the lagging indicator like the MACD, you can actually continue to hold it as long as the MACD does not reverse and continues to expand in the opposite direction. Alright traders, so let's go over the reversal trade here. We're going to be actually looking at a lower price stock and then we'll look at a higher price stock. So seeing how you can trade both sides, either a low cap or a high cap. So this was PSTI and you can clearly see it just starts shooting out the gate here at 9:30. We get this drive up. Let's see the percentage move here, 40% there. Starts driving up, really collects some volume here, then really starts getting a drive as it breaks through this pattern. We can clearly see this bullish pattern here that we break out of. And once it breaks out of that, it really starts getting extended. We started this stock here at $5.50 and now we're getting up there to $8 and above. So one of the things we need to look at is the hourly and seeing how overbought we are, and if we're going to start seeing the MACD, which is this line down here, if we're going to start seeing this line down here start crossing. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So the hourly chart is getting above here. Look, you see it getting up there to 99 there. The RSI getting up there really high. Anything above 80 on the hour is really overbought and starting to get to those levels where it probably isn't going to continue. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next candle. Next candle, what do you get? If you look down here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can start seeing how it starts trending down here on the RSI, and that alone should give you a little bit of a hint. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the 5-minute and see what we get. As we break out through the 8s, we still get this push up on the MACD, and you've really gotten kind of these waves where it's gone up, down, up, down, up, and it's really getting to this level where it's really further extended. You can see on the 15-minute here, we're getting really pushed up here, and whenever I see 4 straight green candles of 15, that's an hour's block, and I'm really looking to capture that momentum right back down. Let's go ahead and see what we get here on the 5-minute. As we get through the 850s, this is not when we want to go ahead and take a short, but we want to let it go ahead and try to keep breaking out through that 850. And we see another touch here at the 850, and it definitely holds there. Once it holds there, you can go ahead and try to take a 50 share position there. Try to get in here, let's say 840, and you short this candle here, and then you can hold the risk to be, first we're going to do $25. Okay, so we're looking actually at an extension back down. This is a dollar trade, so it's okay to risk in this one, let's say 50 cents, or we could even keep it smaller here for the PSTI, it being only a dollar move down. Let's keep it at 25 cents above that entry. So 875s would get us out to begin with. So that 875, we can go in there with the 50 shares. And since it's only going to be about, let's say 25-cent risk, we're talking about a $10 risk down trade. So right now we're in the trade and we're looking to get in and risk up to that 75 mark. Okay, that's our risk. And then the next candle, what do we get, guys? We get a down move. This is when you got to look and say, okay, now we're starting to get that bottoming effect. I think I can start looking to add in here as long as it holds an 850 on any pop-up. And what do you get? The next candle, it pops up right to 850. And when it stops there at 850 and it doesn't go out there and break your risk, which is at 875, that's when you want to go ahead and start adding. When you see that rejection there on the 5-minute and the next candle comes, and you can go ahead and now add, boom. We're adding our second position here. Now we're going to add 100 shares or 50 shares to get to 100. This is going to at least keep us right near the break even, but now we need to hold at the high of the day. It's no longer the risk at that 875. We need to lower it down to the high of the day because we shouldn't get past that level now. The high of the day here is 859. So you can go ahead and set a bar there at that 859. Let's go ahead and set it here at 860. So anything that breaks through the 860 would get us out. So essentially we're risking here the same amount. We just extended and doubled down. Okay. That's what we're really looking to do. So if we risk $10, now we're risking about $20 here. What do we need to see, guys, to add another share? Is we really need to see the breakdown of the pattern. So if we got this top here, and if it's looking to break out through the 850s, it's going to get probably through that 860 and get us out. So anything that breaks down through the support, we can go ahead and hit an add. As you see this one breaking down through the 8, that's when you want to go ahead and add another fourth or another 100 shares. For me, in this case, I would add another 100 shares as I've gotten now 150, and this would get me to the 250, and I can go ahead and hold off break even. Let's say for some reason I got 45s or 50s to make it easy. If I got the top there on 50s and then I shorted another 100 shares there at 8, I should be somewhere above 825s. So this gives me an ability to go ahead and hold the rest break even no matter what. So once you see that hourly candle start turning down, you're seeing the cross really happen here, which is really important here. As we've seen that cross, that's when we can go ahead and add. We broke the support and you get this cross here, the MACD, which is very vital and showing us weakness. That's really what you want to get to. When you cross that cross right there, as long as it stays above now the trigger line, which is that white line, we're looking bearish. We start getting that crackdown, it pops up a little bit here up to the 8, but it really doesn't break down. And what is it going to happen here, guys? It's going to close the candle and give us the next hourly candle. And we need to pay attention to what? The RSI. And what ends up happening here, guys, is we get a cross on the hourly for the RSI here. This is what we needed to see. That's what's going to help us. Once we get that cross here, that's actually going to help us bring us back down here and show us that it was overbought and heading back down. As long as we can hold break even at that 825 now, we can go ahead and let it come back down to the VWAP. The VWAP is around 725 here. As we get some more candles, what ends up happening, guys? We ended up getting a wash down, and the real key here is that I want to show you guys is this kind of exchange here. So the first things first is look at this downturn here in what's going on with the RSI. It goes all the way from the top to all the way to the bottom. Why does that happen? The extreme measure that happens here. Because the extreme measure was that push out through the 850s, which gets too further extended and overbought and starts turning back. Now also, once we crossed here on the MACD, we also went straight back down. We could draw this line and it goes straight down and keeps expanding away from the trigger line, showing that weakness, giving us an ability to really nail this trade here. Where we really want to start getting out is in this area here, towards these 39s here. And what really matters is once it gets near that VWAP, don't get too picky. You're getting near $1 win on this. So if you need to cut it a little bit short, 10 cents shorts, 5 cents short, it's okay. Just go ahead and try to target that VWAP. And really, what's important here, guys, is that it gives you an ability to hold as long as the MACD doesn't break again. This trade is really going to give you an ability to find these overextended trades. We're going to find these overextended trades by really watching the hourly and using the strength of watching the RSI, that's a lagging indicator, showing us what's happening so that we can go ahead and see these tops that we can go ahead and try to tackle here. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the second reversal here. Here we're actually going to be looking to get a stock that's gone from overbought down all the way down to oversold, and we're going to scoop the bottom off the support and look to bring it right back to the VWAP. So you can clearly see this stock at 55 was above 90, actually got I think close to 100 there on the oversold symbol. So as we cross down there, we start heading down towards the support. Where could we find support? We clearly see this 50 as support here on the hourly chart, and you can see it on the 5-minute chart if you scroll back for yesterday. So we're going to look to see if that's going to find near support so that we can get in here. As you see the stock bounce up and the hourly start coming down, we look to see if we can get in close to 50. I'd put an order out as it breaks 51.50 out at 50.25s so that we can go ahead and risk down there towards that 50 or 50.50 here. As it goes down, I get excited. Let's say I jumped in there at 50.50, risking 50 cents towards that 50. As I see it scoop up here, I wanted to go ahead and look for it to come back above 50s through the 51 and then trying to add right back there at 50.50s so that we could hold down towards the low. What ends up happening on this candle is we get a low of 50.20. It doesn't even go to 50. On the next candle, as it opens up, we want to go ahead and as we see it hold 50.25s again, we go ahead and we add here at this 50.75 another 100 shares, which is going to put us somewhere in between 50.60. That's going to give us 2 entries and a nice average there where we can go ahead and risk now off the bottom of the low, which was at 50.20. We don't want it to go through that 50.20 so that we can risk for that and we can look for a nice reward. What's our reward potential look like? We're looking to get up there towards the VWAP. Somewhere in the 50.75 mark would look good. So what does that give us a potential for? Let's say we had a 50.60. We're looking for essentially $1 profit for only risking about 25 cents. As we see the bottoming effect here on the RSI, we're looking for really the MACD to start turning back for us. Once we start getting this pop up through the 50.50, this is when you can really start looking to see where you're going to go ahead and place another ad. You can draw a trend line and see that, hey, if we get above this 50.75, I should be looking really well. You can see that we got a pullback here that ends up pulling back here towards the 50.50, getting really close to breaking out of that trend. But what ends up happening really is now our RSI is starting to move up towards that overbought area and really start getting up there and start getting rebought up. And what do we need to see is that trend line really get broken here and the MACD get closer. So right here, we get that break, full break here through the 51.50s, and that's where I would be looking to go ahead and take my third ad here as we've broken through the pattern. You can take that third ad, and now your stop should be somewhere right at the bottom of here, which is the low, or your break-even rate, which should be closer towards 50.90s or 51. Let's just say it was 51, and then you could hold the rest break even. Look for this move to go back up to the VWAP, which is at 50.75, and now we're in a bigger sizing, but holding break even to make that good gain up to the VWAP. And as you see this stock, it starts ripping on up, making its way up there to the VWAP, giving us an opportunity to sell right at VWAP at 52.50. You could have had 200 shares here, a nice 50-cent move, giving you that nice $100 gainer for a $25 risk. This is where we want to go ahead and take profits, guys, right here as it approaches VWAP. That's a great spot to go ahead and nail that profit right there. Like always, guys, this isn't always going to be easy, but one of the key things is to look for that MACD to really get tighter as it gets to the bottom. Look for overbought down to oversold, right back up, giving you an opportunity to make some good reversal trades here.
And like always, traders, I know you guys have seen this quote before, but really this quote is implemented inside this strategy. So this is a quote from Warren Buffett. We have to be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So that's why we go ahead and we use the extremes to really master this strategy. Like always, traders, definitely check us out at Beginner Trading. We have a website with a whole bunch of free content. Trade every single day live. Everything's for free. That's really what we're all about. We're the anti-gurus here. So check us out, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. Let's go ahead and trade.